te hi o Tonganui, ko te ika Māui, te wako aoraki ko te Waipaunamu, mō kau ki runga Tama ki raro, ko manga toa ko pare hauraki, ko pare waikato ko te Kaikōrero, ko te nehe nui, ko mani a poto, te iwi e hika e. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Waiwaiā, ko Tama Blackburn tōku ingoa, he uri o mani a poto, kino haku, uekaha hoki. I tipu ake au, i taranaki, heoi, kei konei au, kei konei au nai nei. Kia ora. So I'm Tama Blackburn. I'm Maniapoto Uri, Kino Haku and Uekaha as well. Although I was brought up in Taranaki, I'm here now and doing my best for our iwi, or that's what I reckon. And I'm also an employee for Te Nehe Nui. Te Nehe Nui is the Maniapoto Post-Settlement Governance Entity. I'm the Taiao Project Manager. I've been there almost a couple of years now. And our kaupapa is Te Māori or Waiwaiā. So it's the Maniapoto Freshwater Cultural Assessment Framework. Don't ask me to say that again. We shortened the Cultural Assessment Framework to CAF, so if you hear me say CAF, that's what I'm talking about. Nō reira. Can I just introduce our two beautiful wahine? Unfortunately, a couple others couldn't make it today due to unforeseen circumstances, but we have our superpowers here. Nō reira. Kia ora.
O tēnā tātou katoa, ko Wikitōria Tāne ahau, ko Ngāti Maniapoto, obviously, Ngāti Urunumia, Ngāti Uekaha, Ngāti Apakura, e tū ana ki mua i a koutou. Tēnei te mihi atu ki a koutou, kua tāma i roto i o mātou ringa. Manaaki, tēnā tātou katoa.
O tēnā tātou e te whare, ko Whakaotirangi Tākawe Paki, tōku ingoa. My pā is te hokinga mai ki te nehe nui, and I'm part of Te Māori or Waiwaiā on behalf of our pā. And don't quite know what I'm going to talk about today, but I think it'll be interesting anyway. Kia ora.
So that makes three of us that don't quite know what we're going to talk about today, but we're going to roll with it because we're talking about something that's close to our hearts, is Te Māori o Waiwaiā. What is Te Māori o Waiwaiā, or who is actually Waiwaiā? If you're familiar with the area of Maniapoto and especially the Waipā awa and the catchment and all the awa that feed into her, you might be aware of a kaitiaki named Waiwaiā. Do you want to give an explanation? Kia ora.
Does this work? Oh.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, actually, I'll stand up. So nō reira, e mohe ana koutou i ngā te toko maha o ngā taniwha i roto i tēnā o ngā awa o puta i te motu. Ko Waiwaiā tētehi o mātou. And what you're looking at right now is a whakatauki, I guess, that is coined around I say her. I say her, because that feeds and nurtures us is a she, mostly. And so in terms of Waiwaiā, she is the life essence, she's the life principle of tangata, of our taiao, obviously of our water. She's manaaki. And if I think about ka hoki aku mahara i te wā, ki te wā o taku matua keke a Panataua, Ben Rangitaua, in 1985 he actually talked about Waiwaiā, and he talked about the Waipā awa at a hui with Waikato River Regional Council, and they were talking about the restoration of the Waipā River. And one of the things that he said in the kauta actually was ki te pirau te wai, ka pirau haere te tangata. Now we all know that in one form or another. So for us, this is the reason we brought this name to this kaupapa that was originally the Maniapoto Māori Trust Board Cultural Assessment Framework. Oh God. Yeah, but te Mauri o Waiwaiā now. And it was gifted by one of our te Kēti marae whānau to the kaupapa, hei ingoa Māori mo te kaupapa. Tēnā tātou.
Ngā mihi. So, because I've only been here a couple of years doing this role, that's why I let Wikitōria to explain it, because she's been there from the beginning, and so is Whakaotirangi. So we're there on the inception of this concept, the kaupapa. They were there all the way through, and they're still here today. So, yeah, mihi atu kia kōrua. Play. Does it play? Oh, yeah, I did it. Kei te pai. Patience, please. So just some photos and screenshots of some of the people that we have involved. We've got the whānau here from Kaikōrero that look after the mangawakewa. We've got te toto te whenua that look after the waipā, the mangawhero, moho aonui. We have some of our past whānau from te haukainga o Puriora, from inland more. And here we are doing our science stuff at Kahotea Marae. This was in the early days, designing the program, bringing in the science to back up the mātauranga Māori. Some of our key people that helped to build it and design it from the beginning. Some of these people might be in this room. And this is just the culmination of all of the ingoa of the people that have contributed, helped contribute and continue to contribute. Ka pai. So, and here's the timeline. So, from what I understand, it was a little bit before this, right, Wikitōria? 2016, 2017, when the concept was starting to evolve, and then when it became an actual project, this was the timeline, 2018, all the way through till now, and we continue to go. So, there were other people before me that were project managing this kaupapa, and they've gone on to bigger and better things too, so... The overview of the project. So there were three main objectives. We're here to engage and excite our maniapoto whānau into reconnecting with their fresh water and their fresh waters. So we've got waitomo, we've got the waipā that starts up in Peke, Puniu, and this is quite a big catchment, and this is just in the waipā. If we're looking at all of Maniapoto Takiwā, we're all the way down to Mōkau, to Taumaranui, up the mountains to Te Awamutu and out to Kawhia. So our project area is only the waipā for now. Then developing the framework to assess the state of the freshwaters that reflects our unique values and ways of doing things. Now that was quite a difficult process, and we find that we're still refining that as we go. And then building capacity and capability of our whānau to participate in the assessment and the waterways according to their values again. So it sounds good, looks good on paper, but it's very difficult in practice, as I'm sure a lot of you will realise and know. But it's a continuous thing. It just keeps going round and round and round. So the goal of the project to develop and test the Maniapoto freshwater CAF framework alongside our whānau. These are some of the values that were decided upon. We've got tuna, kaura, watercress, rongoa, swimming, clean water, and manu, and sites of significance too. So these developed over the years. I think they only started with 3 or 4, and then another one was added. And you can easily understand how you need to trim it all the way down because we value so much. And we're like, well, we can only prioritise so much and invest so much, and this is how it's come about. And even this is quite a lot to focus on. But you see our focus points, our connection to Waiwaiā. First of all, understanding who Waiwaiā is and how do we identify her. And then once we've identified her, how do we identify the wellness of her Māori? And the ups and downs of all of that. I think one of the biggest challenges we have is understanding everyone's differences. What I understand will be different to you. What you understand and what you see is different to what I see and hear and feel. So getting everyone on an even playing field of mātauranga and understanding the mātauranga continues to be a big challenge. One of the ways that we're trying to work with that is the cultural health indicator through an app on your phone, and it just prompts you to take you through a whole bunch of questions. A lot of you will probably use something similar, but when we do these things, we sit together and we kōrero about it. How do you feel about this? According to your history and what you've seen in the past on this awa or other awa around the places, how do you feel that it looks and feels and smells and all that? And it's a lengthy process. And it's really interesting when we get the data at the end. Not in a good way. Hey, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Data management. Ka pai. So measuring success. Kai, te pai.
Nō reira, so just to be really clear, the kaupapa is really based on data collection of all of those values. I mean, I call them take values in the taiao that you want to be restored. And so you're gathering data over time and assessing and analysing that data in terms of what do we need to do? Who do we need to bring in to help to restore those spaces? I think probably pretty much everyone that is doing any kind of taiao kaupapa is doing that in one form or another. And so just looking at that slide, you can see a couple of our groups here. While I'm here, actually, I want to mihi to Kare. Te Kare in Moira, actually, they've got the longest tenure in this kaupapa because it started way back at Te Hape in 2016 at a wānanga ireira. And so I just want to mihi to you as the longest standing. At that time, I was working for Maniapoto. But in terms of measuring success, these are the things that we were measuring along the way to engage and excite Maniapoto. That's what Tama has just been talking about. And I can, the previous slide was talking about collecting data on the ArcGIS app. And actually that was brilliant as a first tranche of techniques to be able to collate the data. And in terms of the measuring success, I know that I was thinking, oh, we've got to get these flash visuals, we've got to get all of this so we can present it to people. But actually, when we came to doing the data analysis, over the whole of the time from 2016, and Whakaotirangi and I entered all of that manually into spreadsheets, it was pretty impossible to actually do that because there were the breaks with COVID, there were the breaks with te nehenui in the settlement process. And so being able to maintain champions in each of the spaces of our rōpū was actually quite difficult. And I think that everybody knows here that has a taiao project, you've got to get some champions that are going to keep on standing in those spaces. Mō ake tonu atu ahakoa te aha. And if you know, we know life happens, and people have to move on and do whatever. But you know, we've got these rōpū now. These are the things that we came to at the end of the day when we looked at the data analysis and thought, well, actually, was understanding the collection of data and the science behind it, was that the real aim? But actually it wasn't. It was these things. It was about engaging and exciting Maniapoto. Oh, have you got the thingy? Yeah, that you've already taught. So here's just you know, for your information, an example of the forms, one of the original forms that we used where people were manually entering data. The one on the second with the green top label, that is the second tranche of the forms that we used in the kaupapa. And that's been taken into the ArcGIS app where you can just go wherever you want to go, you know, collect some data. So that's, you know, for your information only. Ka pai? So this is what we broke our little peanuts over, and just leave it. And so here's all of the things that you're gathering the information on, collating the data on, right? And these are the spreadsheets. And oh my God, you scientists out there would love these spreadsheets. We absolutely hated them. We hated them. We would go home. It just drained our energy for so long, but we did it, man. We did it, and yeah, the thing that came out of that was actually those measures, those 3 measures. Haere tonu. And so, ko te tātai tuatahi, we've already kind of spoken about that in terms of the first measure was to engage and excite Maniao Poto whānau into reconnecting with their freshwaters, and absolutely we've done that on the, well, my right, is that your left? I don't know up from down. But those are all of the names of the rōpū that we have engaged over time, and that's Haukainga ki Pureora. That's, I can't read it. Kahotea marae, the kura taio o Maniao Poto, te nehe nui. We've got te toto o te whenua, which is made up of 3 marae, which is te kotahingatanga marae, te keti marae, and te hokinga mai ki te nehe nui marae, otherwise known as Otiwa, and the last one was Maniao Poto Marakai Rōpū. So definitely we have achieved that. Haere tonu. Tātai tuarua was to develop the framework. Yes, that's absolutely happened in terms of ngā huia, ngā huia herangi, Dasel, Rickards, and I can't remember her name, Kelly Ratana. They developed the framework and have rolled it out with us. Ka pai, so that's absolutely been achieved. Tātai tuatoru. And this was to build capacity and capability of Maniao Poto whānau to participate in the assessment of their waterways according to their freshwater values. And, you know, if I could tell a little story of my own, I would not know the Waiwaiā River were it not for this kaupapa. And it started out there at, with Te Haukainga o Pureora out at Te Hape. Straight after that wānanga, I came back and I went to the Waiwaiā River because I grew up in the city, right? And so absolutely all of that has been achieved. I could say without a doubt, hand on heart, that every single person who has participated in this kaupapa is now an advocate in one way or another for the taiao, all of the taiao, not just for our rivers and our waterways. And so, yep, absolutely, we've achieved that. In terms of the next steps, the next steps is around, we've discussed as a rōpū, I guess, having a reset around what we've got on the ArcGIS app, because we've found that actually it doesn't talk to a whole lot of other things in terms of spreadsheets. So we're going to be doing that kind of a refresh, have a look at how can we make the mobile app and our spreadsheets talk together. We're going to have another look about that wheel that you see there. That was the wheel that after you manually have a look at all of the data on the spreadsheets, you put the information into that wheel. So we're going to be looking at those things in terms of going forward. This is the anga whakamua, it'll be the next generation of this kaupapa. Ka pai? Is there another one? Oh, and here's always, you know, just some of the marae, all of the different spaces that we've been monitoring in. Ka pai?
Ngā mihi, so there's a lot to take in, and I'm sure a lot of you have already felt a lot of this, you know, the mamai, the pain, but also the success. And we spoke about some of the challenges and some of our successes, but more challenges is competing with other kaupapa. Trying to get whānau to come along to a weekend wānanga or get in after school, you know, and you're trying to excite them after they've just done a hard week of work or something like that. That's a big challenge. Then you've got, you know, everyone's into kapahaka, they've got sports and all this other stuff. So where does this fit in and where does this prioritise in life? So it's an ongoing challenge. I see a lot of nodding heads. Kia ora, aira. But then we look at success. What does success look like for this kaupapa? This success looks like building that capacity and capability. And you're about to see one of the successes very soon. But another thing that we've identified is when we take people to the awa, are we putting them in danger? And so another form of success was we created opportunities for whānau to learn how to be safe in dangerous occasions. So We now have swiftwater river rescue training courses going on. Wikitōria joined us, put on a wetsuit, helmet, big vest. We sent her down the rapids and we all had a good laugh. She was like a feather on the water, just la-di-da. It's beautiful. So we're giving those out to people. It's paid for, funded. You just got to turn up, and we even put on the kai. But it's about building that confidence so we all have that level understanding of, is that river dangerous? What a tamariki over there thinks is dangerous might not be dangerous for me. I've been in the water, I grew up in the water. So, but then if we share this opportunity, then we understand, we share the understanding of, oh no, it's kei te pai, we can mingle with her. Other things of identifying tohu of the Māori of Waiwaiā, manu monitoring. So we got courses for that as well, and we send our people up to Maungatautari Sanctuary Mountain to learn how to identify manu. Because if we are improving the Māori of Waiwaiā, we will see these things come. And if we're trained, then we can all share that kōrero. And another one is GIS basics, so learning how to do maps, read maps, and use that as another form of communication. But the last sign of success for us, Te Māori of Waiwaiā, is encouraging and exciting our whānau to start their own projects in their own rohe, their own takiwā, so then we can pick up the kaupapa, shift focus, and help someone else in our enormous takiwā. So with that, I'll pass it back to these two because they're about to talk about that success. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, katoa, that's me. I'm out. Nana.